you were not you, then who would you be? Someone different and unimaginable to me. If you were not you, whose hair would I tussle? I'd get a shaggy dog and call him Old Russell. Now, when I see Harry, my son, I'm so grateful that I got to use donor egg and sperm, because that's what's made him. I suppose I feel incredibly grateful and humbled by the fact I can do it. I spent a lot of time thinking that I would meet the right guy, settle down, find somebody and have children in the natural way. By the time I got to kind of my late 30s, I thought, not going to happen. And so I started initially to look down the adoption route. At the time, India didn't adopt a single woman. And then by the time they changed the law in India, I was over the age of 40. So I then hit the age limit. So that is why adoption didn't work for me. And I gave up the idea for years after that, thinking, okay, adoption isn't a route. I just have to fill my life with doing all the things I can't do or would find harder to do because of having a child. So I did earthquake search and rescue for about 7 years. I rode motorbike, I took helicopter lessons, I ran a marathon, I cycled to Paris. I did lots and lots of crazy stuff to try and fill my life. But ultimately, it came down to the fact that, although I wouldn't say I was lonely, I was incredibly unfulfilled. And that feeling and that desire and need to have a child just wouldn't go away. So then I just started to research, and I found out that you could do egg and sperm donation. And for me, I was 42 when I started this journey. Doctor at London Women's Clinic said to me, what do you want to walk away with from this journey? And I said, I just want to walk away with a baby. It didn't matter to me whether that was my own eggs or that was somebody else's eggs. And in order for that to maximise chances, I just had to go with what was statistically, going to give me the biggest chance of walking away with a baby. And for that, it meant donor eggs, because after the age of 40, the statistics were showing that it was probably less than 5% chance of me getting pregnant, but with donor eggs, potentially 40% chance of me getting pregnant. And that was, that was massive. That was just, it made the decision for me, if anything. So I just thank my lucky stars that I was born in an age where this kind of technology and science and medical advancement is available to somebody like me. And, thank God I live in a country where I don't have to be married, where as long as I look like I'm going to be a sane mother, I can have a child, No, not that one. Where am I going?
You're going to the dinosaur.
Are you playing?
Yeah.
Are you making it better?
Yeah.
My piano teacher will be mortified. I was recently asked to take in a Homes for Ukraine family, and initially I said no, and then I started to think about it, and I just thought, how do I say no when some people have asked me for help, when I have been the recipient of one of the greatest gifts you can give to somebody? There is something so humbling over the fact that two complete strangers have helped me to do this, and they absolutely didn't need to. The ripple effect of what you have done is absolutely endless, Curl around to start the E, then trace along the tail you see. Ooh, round. Do you want to do it? Very good.
Do that.
What's under there? Go and stop. That's the traffic sign, isn't it?
Go.
The best thing that the clinic told me was start talking to him when he is 6 months old about this. So it's always been a natural part of our conversation. And to me, that's the only way to do it, because I can't imagine not being open about this, because to me, it's something that should be celebrated. I've actually ended up writing a little book for him called If You Were Not You, which is all about my feelings that I didn't use my own eggs, and thank God I didn't, because he wouldn't be him. And isn't it wonderful that he is now who he is, you know, and I wouldn't change a thing about it. You know, I would love it if he got to meet them, if they had a relationship with him. I would love it, because the more people in the world that can love Harry, the better, you know, as far as I'm concerned. And I just want him to be happy with who he is. And so that's why I wrote this little book. If you were not you, Harry, I'd be sad beyond belief. You being you is such a wonderful relief. Good boy, well done. The biggest risk in this is just waiting and waiting and waiting for everything to be perfect. And you know, people have asked me, what advice would you give to anybody considering egg donation? And one of the things I would say is just, you know, don't waste time. I mean, I've heard of people waiting for the right egg donor for months and months and years, and saying, well, that particular type of egg donor that matches me exactly, because they're not going to be you, right? Then they might be similar to you, but they're not going to be you. They're going to have a different personality. They might have different interests. It doesn't really matter. This child that you bring in is going to be their own person, and you're there as the guide until they get to adulthood. But they're never going to be this replica of you. And I don't think that's true of really kids, even when you have kids in the most natural way, right? They are going to be their own people. Anyway, I am very different to my parents, so I just say choose and go and get on with the journey, because if this is successful, it is simply the best thing that will ever happen. I don't expect anything to beat this for the rest of my life.